Hello, intrepid experimenters. Welcome back for another week. Welcome to new subscribers. Thank you for joining me. Please click like, subscribe, do all the things that really helps the channel out. Leave a comment. All of that helps the channel, and I appreciate it. So, this is Adhpa. In this series, I've been doing pulls from the Sacred Path cards and then doing a reading on them just to sort of look at the energy, explore the topic, and see how it applies to the week. So last week the card was Kokopelli. So I'm interested to know if any of you had a Kokopelli kind of event, something musical, something that inspired you to become creative, something alluring, maybe a little bit seductive that took you down a better path, which is the energy of Kokopelli. And this week I'm going to shuffle up and pull a card, and then we'll do a reading to see what this week is. Let us see. So things might be a little cluttered around me today. I have been repainting a couple of rooms in the house that were really pretty dreary, including the bathroom, and now I'm working on the craft room. So craft room stuff is all over the other rooms in the meantime, but everything should be back in order in a couple of days. All right, let's see. Let's pull a card for the week and see what it has to say. What is the card? Medicine for the week, for the collective that we need to be aware of. What is the medicine of the week we need to be aware of? Sort of waiting to see if a card leaps. Up there, one fell. All right, here we go. So, top card, and top card is coral, nurturing, coral. So it's got a coral necklace around a medicine wheel, coral stone, the red stone that you often see in southwestern jewelry along with turquoise is the coral. And it comes from the sea. It's a living creature, like all stones, really, in some form are living, but coral is a form of living mineral that's more apparent to the human eye to see how it lives. So it really brings that energy to us to understand how the stones are living beings, energy beings in their own right. And so that coral connects us when we live on the earth to the things that live on the earth under the water, as it were. But I'll also pull a reading, and we'll see what it says. And I'll pull an excerpt from Jamie Sam's book to see what he says about the coral. All right, hold on. So what Jamie calls the coral the blood of our relations, and it reminds us of that connectedness. And here's his application for when the card shows up in your reading. If coral has appeared in your cards today, you are being asked to look at the idea of nurturing. It may be time to nurture yourself or another. If you refuse to be nurtured, it may be time to drop that superhuman attitude before you get sick. Coral tells us that our bodies have needs too. Pay attention and be good to your body. Coral also speaks of the planetary family. If you feel lonely or alone, it may be time to have a reunion with the other creatures that share the earth with you. Listen to all our relations. And cut the "I'm the only one" refrain out of your thoughts. Coral always tells us to listen to our feelings. If you have been ignoring how you feel around certain people or how your body feels, Coral is insisting that you reconnect to those feelings. Remember, to feel is to heal. Now, I like to say that feelings, emotions, are flags to the energy. So what you're feeling is telling you what energy you're creating or producing or is around you, that you're ingesting, and it gives you an opportunity then to change that energy to what you want it to be. When you can identify what you are creating, then you can change it to create what you choose to create. Okay, so I will pull a reading today. I think today we'll go back to my old standbys, the Crow Tarot, but this time we'll use the chakra cards to clarify on this topic of coral and nurturing. So hold on and I'll bring you down to the table. All right, I have pre-shuffled, but I'll shuffle up a bit more here. And on the topic of nurturing, this week coming is about nurturing. Now we enter the new moon early in the morning, tomorrow morning. And new moon cycles are about nurturing as opposed to full moon cycles, which are about clearing. All right, so give us some information that we need to know for this week ahead regarding nurturing. Some info regarding nurturing for the week ahead for the collective about this coral. You might want to wear coral this week just to remind you of your connection. The turquoise and the coral together represents the connection between earth and sky, which allows the life field to exist by creating atmosphere between them. So coral being earth. Oops, so we got a few that dropped. They're going to go on the top. All right. Just as they came out. That's how they'll go in. And Tony Hartman's chakra. The crow is MJ Kulinane. Oops, let's see, can't see it. There we go. Anyway, great deck. Really enjoy that deck. All right, crows are good messengers. All right, clarifiers for nurturing for the week. What do we need to know about nurturing for the week? What do we need to know? This week, clarify the reading on nurturing. All right, give it one more go through, and if something doesn't pop, we'll just cut it and go with those. All right. Let's see, what do we got for the signifier? The Seven of Wands. This is, generally that defending yourself. It looks to me like this is talking about some protection, self-protection, defending against the onslaughts. So nurturing yourself, with whatever comes to help restore yourself, heal yourself, defend your body. Challenged. Oh, wait a minute. Clarified by acceptance. So I think we have to accept that life is challenging and can challenge us, and that we have to restore and heal. It's something we have to do regardless of what's coming up behind us. And in this acceptance, she's literally making cherry pie, bringing that nourishment of the fruit and the flower and the sweet, and the a little bit of salt or whatever is in there is the nurturing elements. And the challenge is Four of Cups. We're challenged by the energy, new energies being presented to us, and contemplating the energies we've already had and produced and what we want to move to next. And that is clarified by insecurity. So I think what challenges us in taking care of ourselves is being able to get in on whatever new energy is coming in, not wanting to miss the boat, not wanting to take that time to stop and heal because we think we'll miss out on something else. So that's a challenge, because if we don't nurture the body, we can't really appreciate or accept those new energies and work with it anyway. What we can control in this situation is the Five of Swords. This is about abusing power, holding our power, on our thinking, not allowing ourselves to be muscled onto something, like maintaining that control ourselves, as clarified by rejection. So this looks to me like he's rejecting what these other ones have brought and holding on to his thinking and rejecting other people's thinking. It can be an abuse, though. So this is talking about we have control over the extent that we allow ourselves to abuse ourselves, and to the extent that we reject the information and wisdom, intuition, medicine, healing. That's in our control. Recent events impacting us now is the Ten of Pentacles. This is about inheritance, reaching a fulfillment of well-being. This is like maxing out. This is like maxing out your well-being. We've hit the limit. In the past, when you're not feeling well, you may feel like all your good days are behind you. And that is clarified by complacency. That it's particularly hard when you're working to achieve certain earthly goals or financial stability or various things like that, to focus in on your health and step away from those things if you need to in order to focus in your health. There's like a complacency that comes with achieving it, that may make it more difficult for you to do the self-healing and nurturing. This is like the guy who retires and then within a very short time crosses over, because he's no longer doing that self-nurturing. He's reached a level of complacency with achieving his earthly well-being. So that's something that can affect how we nurture ourselves today, is the extent to which we've achieved our life goals. Let's leave it at that. The thing we can't control in this, however, is the Five of Pentacles. And that's that, doing poorly, being sick, being out in the cold, not having the wherewithal, the resources to deal with life. And that's as clarified by growth. So we can't control health impacts, the things that may cause us to have to pull out of the stream of life to nurture. But that's all part of the growth process. Things have to rest and regenerate and heal regularly, cyclically. And that may not fit in with sort of the human constructs of ever increasing whatever, abundance, wealth, prosperity. So we cannot control the extent to which health problems may come at us or may grow. Even if you nurture yourself, it doesn't mean you won't be exposed to things. That's part of life. What our intentions are manifesting? King of Pentacles. This is about the being that directs the external well-being. We really want to be able to be in control of and direct the external well-being around us, as clarified by bittersweet. There's a thing in this, it's just that we would rather control the things around us than control the things within us. We have this tendency to muscle through, power through, ignore the health issues, not do the self-care, self-nurturing, or nurturing of the environment around us in our attempt to force it into a certain level of well-being. And so there is a bittersweet quality to having that power, because if you are the one directing all the things of external well-being and then you become ill, what does that say? Is your illness for the greater well-being and you're manifesting it? Why would that be? So there is a bittersweet quality to this. How we see ourselves in relation to it is the Ten of Wands. This is burdensome. I think humans do find self-nurturing very difficult. I myself have spent many years alone and plan to spend many more years alone. And one of the hardest things that I struggle with is if I become ill, feeding myself, doing the things I need to do to self-nurture when I'm depleted. And that is really, really difficult. It's a struggle. So most people don't want to be alone for that reason. They need someone to help them, as clarified by soulmate. Yeah, I think it is burdensome to the human if they don't have a soulmate to do the nurturing. It's also burdensome to your soulmate to rely on them for your self-nurturing, which you need to be doing for yourself. You should be able to nurture yourself and then share some of that out for your soulmate. And they doing the same thing, then you have a stronger base of self-care for both of you. The environment in which we sit is that Two of Cups. It's about commitments and agreements, people coming together, wanting to have interacting with other energies. There's always an energy interaction between us and something else. Some living person or a living being, could be your pets, could be, if you're a real hermit type like me, you might even find that just the garden and the trees are the beings that you connect with on a daily basis and relate to. And that's nurturing in that environment is what I think as humans, we need that connection into something else in the life field, as clarified by discovery. And this is about discovering the heart on this card. So nurturing the environment in which we sit is one of discovering how nurturing supports relationship, I think is how I would read that. Hopes and fears on this one is the Nine of Cups. That's about being in management of your energies, like having the approach of the merchant, knowing what the energies are, collecting them, knowing who needs what, being able to source the right energy for the right customer, being the central location within where you go to get what you need. So hopes and fears in that is about, are we up to it? Do we have the energy? As clarified by abundance. You know, I think people are both, I think sometimes we have a fear of living, not just a fear of dying. We all know we have a fear of dying. But for many of us, there's a fear of living. It's overwhelming what we might be able to do that we don't allow ourselves to do. You know, that potential of ourselves that we waste can feel like a burden. So I think what this is talking about is there is both a hope in being the merchant of our own well-being, and creating abundance. You know, this self-nurturing allows us to achieve a level of abundance by curating our life walk. And the fear, of course, may be that we don't have what it takes to create that. So we can see one here has and one worries. One has dreams of homes, one is lost in addiction. So you'll create the abundance of what you put out. So you could create an abundance of well-being or an abundance of ill-being. And the final outcome card for the week is the 8 of Cups. You know, this is about stepping back, stepping away from sort of the things, the energies that we've built up that back us up, and looking into the depths for what remains. There's still 2 cups out there somewhere. And are we, when we are working on this nurturing, is it leading us to be able to work towards those other cups? I think that's how I would read this, that the outcome of self-nurturing is it allows you to sort of turn away from what's already been accomplished and move on to the next, looking to the next thing, leaving behind energies that no longer serve for new energies. And that's clarified by creation. Yeah, I think that's where our creative energy is in discovering new things. And that excitement of new energy coming in that challenges us to get out of our complacency and become creators of our own well-being and whatever else we may choose to create from that. Bottom of the deck, Wheel of Fortune. You know, this is the secret to human good luck and fortune, is to nurture and self-curate your well-being, as clarified by balance. I think that's a really lovely reading. So, yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think it means. And hold tight, and I'll bring you up here so we can close it out. All right, so there we go. Energy for the week is about nurturing. And of course, before I did this read today, I put on my coral shirt, and I didn't even, you know, I had no clue I'd pull that card. So it's just the color I chose to wear, and I find that that is often the case with intuition. Colors are vibrational energy, and so they stimulate us to be creative in various ways. And I think that that's what the story of the coral is about a color that stimulates us to understand our connection with all, with the oceans, with the sea, with the stones, with other beings, and to nurture those relationships in order to create. And that is the journey of life. The journey of life is not achieving well-being or wealth or whatever it is. It's not the achievement. It's the creation of energy on the process, in the process, during the attempt to achieve, that really nurtures our soul. So that's how I'm going to read that one. Let me know what you think. And keep an eye out for the shorts I'm doing on the craft room. Can't wait to have that one done. If you haven't seen it, go check out my short on the bathroom and the final reveal on that. This little old farmhouse, it's 100 years old, and there are certain things about it that you know are just going to be the wonky way that they are. But and that includes when you paint over paneling and stuff. I chose not to fill in the cracks in the bathroom because I like the kind of country way it looks. So for me, it looks great, works great. I'm happy with it. And I'm looking forward to a similar revamp on the craft room. But I'd love to get your input. Let me know what you think. All right. See you guys in a week.